Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. That's Vibe and Viv Relationship Coaching. My name is Vivian and I help you to heal after going through a relationship heartbreak. Today we're going to talk about how to regain your confidence, your self-esteem, your self-worth after you've gone through a heartbreak. It can be really tough to navigate when you've gone through a relationship heartbreak. It'll take a tank on your perception of yourself. I've been there. You are not alone. I've worked with other women who have been in the same position. So you are absolutely not alone and you're in the right place if you're wanting to work through this. So, as women, or just even being in any relationship, we tend to find validation in our partners. Sometimes that validation can be healthy, sometimes it can be not healthy, depending on what kind of attachment style you have. For me, when I was with my partner in the past, he did validate me. And to a certain degree, it kind of ended up being unhealthy because once that relationship ended, I started to doubt myself. I doubted whether I was beautiful, whether I was smart enough. I thought maybe I was too serious. Maybe if I was less serious, more funny, more outgoing, maybe he would have stayed. So I started to have all this self doubt when the relationship ended because part of being with that person was some form of validation. And that's what tends to happen when a relationship ends. We lose some of that validation we've had from our partners. And when that ends, we think that there's something wrong with us, or maybe we should have done something more differently. And then our self esteem, how we perceive ourselves, goes down. That's what happened to me. Now, in order to start working through some of that self esteem issues, that lack of confidence, how you perceive yourself, your self worth, I had to be real with myself and my emotions. I had to start challenging those negative thoughts. So when those thoughts come up, whether you're enough, your complexion, your nose is too big, or whatever the case is, you have to challenge it and remind yourself that just because the relationship ends, it does not take away from the qualities of who you are. It does not define who you are. So you have to challenge those negative thoughts, those negative stories you're telling yourself, because at the end of the day, you want a partner who's going to stick with you through thick and thin, because you're not going to be consistent throughout. Sometimes you might have some highs, sometimes you may have some lows, and you want a partner who's going to be willing to rock with you, be with you through those different phases of life. So if it happens now that person decided that something doesn't align, that person saved you. It saved you years of heartache, years of misery. Right now, it doesn't feel like it because it hurts and you're going through those emotions. But I'm telling you, when you look back at this, you will see that that person actually saved you from a lifetime of some kind of tumultuous relationship by ending it at this point in time. So those negative stories, the doubt you're telling yourself, I need you to start challenging it. That's what I had to do, pushing back on those negative thoughts. Because the more negative things you tell yourself, the more it's going to tank your self-esteem. So start practicing affirmations. So change the narrative so that you can start changing how you feel about yourself. So once you start challenging those negative thoughts, sometimes it can be hard to do that on your own. And that's where you have to surround yourself with people who actually know you, who care for you. So they can sometimes pour into you when you can't do that yourself. So they can remind you of who you are. So I call that your tribe of happiness. You have to have some kind of tribe of happiness, whether that's people, whether that's activities you like to do that reminds you of who you are. So that actually transitions us into the next phase, which is don't compare yourself to anybody. As women, we tend to do this. When I was going through my breakup, what I would do is compare myself to my ex's partners, who they were currently with. And I would think, oh, maybe if I dressed a little bit nicer, maybe if I did my hair a different way, maybe he would have stayed with me. So I started comparing myself. And if you find yourself doing this, it will also take a tank at your self-esteem, at your self-worth. So you have to stop comparing yourself to their ex-partners, their current partners, or just not comparing yourself with any other woman, because what someone else has going for themselves, that's them. You have your own thing going for you. And you have to focus on what you have and your qualities. So we have to stop comparing ourselves to other women so that we can start pouring back into our self-confidence and our self-esteem and just really owning who you are so that you don't feel like you have to compare. In this process of regaining your confidence, you also want to remind yourself of your strengths. It's easy to be in this place of heartache and be like, gosh, I can't do anything right, or I messed up again, or if I'd have just done this differently. And then you feel like you're worthless, like you can't do anything right. And that takes a tank on your self-esteem and your confidence. So I want you to start reminding yourself, like, is it at work? Is it with your kids? What area do I actually do really well in that I can translate it into other areas of my life? Because if you have confidence in one area of your life, or you do something well in one area, trust me, it can be translated to other areas. It's just that right now it's hard for you to see that. So start reminding yourself of your great qualities, your great strengths that you have, because that breakup, that separation, that heartbreak will make you forget. Because again, that validation is no longer there as present and strong. So you have to start doing that for yourself. Remind yourself of those strengths. And like I said before, sometimes it can be hard to do that on your own. So tap into your tribe of happiness, into those people you're surrounding yourself with, so that they can remind you of those qualities if you are having a hard time. Now, as you remind yourself of your strengths, I want you to know that you can do hard things. You can date well, but you have to start setting small, achievable goals, because sometimes you can feel like I can't do anything right, but you can do things right. So start setting small goals for yourself, whether it's as simple as getting up and brushing your teeth, making yourself a meal, getting up and eating. Start setting small goals, because as you do that, it will rebuild your confidence, it'll rebuild your esteem, because it'll let you know that you can actually do certain things for yourself. And that takes us to the next step, which is taking care of yourself. It can be hard to take care of yourself when you are going through a heartache. Relationship ending can cause depression, it can cause anxiety, it can feel like a loss of a loved one where you're going through grief, and it can be so hard to take care of yourself. But in this time is the most important time where you need to be intentional with taking care of yourself and focusing on self-care practices. Like I said earlier, whether it's meditating, go ahead and meditate, going ahead into the gym, some kind of exercise routine practice. When you dress well, you feel well. So maybe getting into a nice outfit you like, doing a makeup, routine that you want to try, getting a little bit of lip gloss on. Start doing different self-care practices, both for internal inner work and external work that makes you feel good. Because as long as you don't do those things, those self-care practices, you stay in that place of lack of self-esteem, low self-confidence, because you feel like you can't do those things. So I want to challenge you to push yourself out there, try new experiences that you maybe normally wouldn't, because you can do them. And it's having that confidence in yourself, following the steps we talked about earlier. And sometimes you need professional help. Seeking professional help does not mean that there is something wrong with you. It's just that we need accountability when we're on this journey. Can you imagine having to sit and process your emotions on your own? That's challenging. It's tough. Can you sit there and try and remind yourself of all your good qualities, or to try and set goals to accomplish for yourself when you're going through a breakup? It can be really tough. But that's where having like a therapist or a coach can help you give accountability, help you give actual steps that you can follow to get you on the other side of rebuilding your confidence. And that's something that I offer. I offer coaching. And again, like I mentioned earlier, to help with healing after relationship heartbreak. Getting your confidence back is part of the healing journey. And I would love to help you on that process. So don't hesitate to let me know, and don't feel ashamed if you need support on this journey, because I had to get support myself on this journey. So you are not alone if you are needing additional support, outside of maybe family and friends, because sometimes they don't know the best either, right? Because they're just trying to support you, but they haven't maybe been in that position, right? So don't be afraid to seek professional support to help you get your confidence, your self-esteem back, and get you back on track. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up, a like, a share, subscribe, leave a comment below. I would like to know how these tips were helpful for you. And until our next video, that's Vibe with Viv.